guys, it's Jordan and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very exciting video for you guys. I'm really excited to film it. I've been wanting to do these kinds of videos for a long time now. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite 2000s rom-coms. If you didn't know or don't remember, the 2000s were really dominated by rom-coms. Some that were awfully horrendous, and then some that have stood the test of time and are like classics. I grew up on these movies. These movies like shaped who I am as a person. They shaped a lot of like the pop culture references that I use on a daily basis. I have a really long list because like I mentioned, these movies have like shaped my life, and so I got quite a few of them. So let's just jump right in. The first one I have is a classic, one of my favorite movies of all time, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, starring Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey. If you've seen this movie, then you know that it's a gem. It's about this woman played by Kate Hudson who works for a cosmopolitan type magazine, and she's their how-to girl. And so she's assigned to write a piece, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. She happens to pick this man, played by Matthew McConaughey, who made a bet with his boss that he could fall in love with any woman in 10 days. Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson have great chemistry. This movie is laugh out loud funny. I actually showed this movie to my boyfriend and he even loved it. I love this movie. I will watch this movie forever and show it to anybody who hasn't ever seen it before. Our love Fern, you let it die. So next we have The Proposal, starring Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock. I mean, first of all, Ryan Reynolds, I mean, right? Like, that's a reason enough to watch it. But this movie, it's about this woman who is a career woman. She's from Canada and she finds out that her visa is no longer up to date and she gets deported. And the only way that she can keep her job and not be deported is to marry someone from the US. So she ropes Ryan Reynolds, who's her assistant, into the lucky job of to be her husband, and they go on a little getaway to meet his parents in Alaska so they can pass the immigration marriage test. And this movie is so funny. So funny. Betty White is in this movie. I'm thinking right now about the scene in the woods around the campfire and thinking about balls to the walls. I love this movie so much. Definitely one that you should check out if you haven't already. Next we have one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time, and that is The Holiday with Jack Black, Kate Winslet, Cameron Diaz, and Jude Law. I love every single one of the movies on this list, so I'm going to say that repeatedly, but I love this movie. We have a career-driven woman who works in the entertainment industry living in Los Angeles, and then a woman who is hopelessly in love with her boss, unrequitedly, who lives in London, and they decide to switch homes with each other for the Christmas holiday. They end up meeting people from the other's lives and forming relationships with them, and it's wonderful. I love Jude Law in this movie so much. Kate Winslet taught me all about finding gumption, and the little old man is just so cute. A really good one to watch during Christmas because it does take place during the holiday season. So I recommend it for Christmas time, but really any time is a good time. Okay, 13 going on 30 with Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo. This is a classic about this young girl who is turning 13 and she wants nothing more than to be cool. Her best friend for her birthday gets her some wishing dust. She wishes to be 30, flirty, and thriving. And she wakes up the next morning and she's 30, flirty, and thriving. This is a really cute movie. Jennifer Garner is adorable in it. She plays this very naive, innocent character really well. I also fell in love with Razzles because of this movie. They have them at Cracker Barrel, and whenever I go to Cracker Barrel, I would be like, Mom, I need Razzles. She's forced to entertain this boyfriend that she doesn't really care for all that much. You know, they're 30, so he's like undressing, and she's like, oh my God. No, it's so cute. Love it so much. Katherine Heigl and James Marsden in 27 Dresses. This is about a woman who is always the bridesmaid and never the bride. Literally, she's been a bridesmaid in 27 weddings. She's hopelessly in love with her boss, who ends up falling for her younger sister. Just shines a whole new light on Benny and the Jets by Elton John. Another one of those really great, funny but romantic but sad movies. I love how the 2000s did romantic comedies so well. Like, they're really funny and there's so many laugh out loud moments, but there's still this great romance element to them. These aren't movies that you see anymore. Like, people don't do these kinds of movies anymore, and it is a travesty. So this is probably one of the oldest ones on my list, and it is What Women Want with Helen Hunt and Mel Gibson. I know, it's old. So our main character is this ladies' man played by Mel Gibson. His company is like an advertising firm, hires a woman for the job that he wanted. And so he's trying to boot her out by making her look bad to their boss. Under some interesting circumstances, he gets the ability to hear what women think. He can hear all of her inner thoughts, all of her ideas. He can hear his 13-year-old daughter's thoughts as well, and it is hilarious. There's some great early 2000s music in here. It's just really funny. I don't like Mel Gibson in like really anything except for this and Pocahontas. That is The Ugly Truth, starring Gerard Butler and Katherine Heigl again. Katherine Heigl was one of those actresses who did a lot of romantic comedies, and she always did them pretty well. So this movie follows our main character, Katherine Heigl, who works on a morning TV talk show, and in order to boost ratings, her boss hires this man from a late night TV segment who promotes the idea that men can't change, only respond to women's looks. Katherine Heigl's character is not too impressed with him. She has a very like checklist idealized picture of a man in her head who happens to be this hunky next door neighbor of hers. And Gerard Butler kindly offers his assistance to help her land this guy if she will let him have the job at the TV show. And Gerard Butler's character has to do some pretty ridiculous stunts to try to lure this man and attract him better because, you know, he has the way. Super funny. The scene of her at dinner with her producers, it's laugh out loud, hilariously funny. This is definitely a movie for mature people. If you want a more like raunchy adult rom-com, this is a really good one to check out. Another one of my favorite movies is next, and that is What Happens in Vegas with Cameron Diaz and Ashton Kutcher. This movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's about these two characters, both from New York. They happen to meet while they're in Vegas. They get really drunk, and then they get married. Wake up the next morning, realize that wasn't the best idea, try to get an annulment, and the judge won't let them because the judge has kind of like a grudge against Vegas weddings and makes them try to work their marriage out. And it is hilarious. I love this movie. It's such a good one. Next we have the movie that inspired this whole video, Sweet Home Alabama, with Reese Witherspoon and Josh Lucas. I love this movie. This movie's about this woman who is from a small town in Alabama. She moves away to New York, meets this really nice, handsome man, and has a very successful career in fashion. He proposes to her, but oops, she's already married. So she's to travel back down to her hometown that she hasn't been to in 7 years and ask her husband, well, demand her husband for a divorce. I'd pick Josh Lucas. It is so funny. I love the Southern charm. It has great music. I actually have a movie that I feel like a lot of people don't really know about. I don't hear it talked about a lot, but it's Because I Said So with Mandy Moore and Diane Keaton. Also, this is the first time I ever saw Lauren Graham not playing Lorelai Gilmore, because Lauren Graham's also in this movie, and so is the oldest sister from Cheaper by the Dozen. About these three sisters who are raised by a single mom and hilarity that ensues with these four women interacting with each other. The youngest girl, played by Mandy Moore, is like floundering through relationships and she's not really ever like got it together. And she's a baker, and this movie made me want to be a baker, like a professional baker, and own a bakery in the worst way. That was a dream of mine for a long time because of this movie. Then the mom is also like floundering through her love life. She's never really given herself a chance because she's got raised her three girls, and it's about this mom and this daughter and them navigating the dating world together. Also, the dad from Seventh Heaven is in this movie. Wow, there's a lot of people in this movie, and there's some beautiful cakes. I know that means like nothing, but I have this DVD and there's a whole like special bonus feature segment on the cakes for this movie because they're beautiful. This is, like I said, not a very common one, I feel like, but Mandy Moore does a really great job, and it's actually my favorite Mandy Moore movie, I think. Highly recommend. We have a middle school classic, and that is She's the Man with Amanda Bynes, Channing Tatum. I can't even begin to tell you the obsession I had with this stupid movie. I can recite the whole movie for you about this young girl. She goes to a very prestigious boarding school and her brother goes to a different boarding school. Her soccer team ends up getting cut, so she decides to take her brother's place while her brother is in London. This is one of the most hilarious movies I've ever seen. It is the best Amanda Bynes movie in the world. This movie also made me try to teach myself how to play soccer. Let me tell you, when you don't know how to play soccer, it's hard to teach yourself how to play soccer. If you haven't seen this, like, what are you doing? So another movie that I feel like isn't a very popular movie, it's probably one of the older ones on my list as well, and that is Boys and Girls with Freddie Prinze Jr. It is about these two characters who meet when they're very young on an airplane, and then throughout their life they just keep bumping into each other. Wind up at the same college, they become actual friends. Really unlikely friendship. It's such a good movie and like nobody talks about it. I've never heard anybody else ever talk about it. It's along the same lines as like She's All That. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And the last one I had to talk about is Just Married with Ashton Kutcher and Brittany Murphy. This is one of the best rom-coms ever. It is so funny. It's about these two characters who meet, fall in love, and then get married and have a very blissful relationship until they go on their honeymoon. Have a honeymoon from hell. The whole movie is so funny. It's just one disaster after the next after the next. It's really cute. Brittany Murphy is super cute in it, and Ashton Kutcher is, as always, hilarious and handsome. So those are all of my movies. Like I said, these are movies I grew up on. This was a genre that was really popular throughout my entire teenage life, and so it's something that's always been near and dear to me. I'd love to know what some of your favorite rom-coms from the 2000s were. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I'll talk to you very soon. Bye!